My favorite thing about living and traveling in a van is life without reservations. We have absolute freedom. If we love a place, we get to stay longer. If we're uncomfortable in a place or it's cold, we can go. And if we find an incredible wild camping spot at the foot of a mountain or on the edge of the sea, that's a place we get to call home. We get to live in the world's most incredible places.
I think that is my favorite part, is just you don't know what's going to be next. And to us, adventure is conquering the unknown and going and seeing things that really weren't in the guidebooks, weren't planned. My family had quite a history of being in campers and being in vans. My grandparents had 5 children, and every summer they would take their kids to live in a camper all summer long.
I really hadn't traveled much, and when Drew and I graduated from college at the University of Florida and we could choose where we wanted to live, we landed on the thought of California and decided to make a 2-week road trip driving across the country, stopping at places along the way, including the Grand Canyon, where we slept in the bottom of the Grand Canyon and hiked back out the next day. And I just absolutely loved this newfound experience of adventuring in the world. I think that road trip just kind of gave me a taste and a craving for more of the road. So before we got into van life, Drew and I were living in Los Angeles. We had a tiny apartment, a little 1-bedroom.
It's about 450 square foot.
But we both worked full-time jobs. I worked at a recovery center where women were in recovery from eating disorders. I put my heart and soul into it. And as much as it meant to give so much of myself to such an important cause, it really left me drained.
I was working a job in business development for a high-end luxury watch company, so it didn't really seem like the career path that I thought I'd be in or wanted to pursue in the long run, but really enjoyed it for the time being and met some great people through it.
Our first year of traveling in a van, that was when we traveled across the US and Canada.
We traveled in a year 2001 Dodge Sprinter.
We had actually planned to teach English in South Korea, but his parents said, look, you haven't explored your own country. We have a camper that's not being used. Why don't you guys go ahead and go explore America?
We'd been planning our wedding on the road for January of 2016, and 5 days later we flew to England with the abstract idea of purchasing this van that we're sitting in. We've owned the van for almost 2 years at this point, a little over 2 years.
This is the Howlin' Yowler.
Our European van, it's a 2001 Ford Transit. It's a British vehicle with a right-hand side drive. It's manual with a 5-speed stick shift. One thing we really love in it is that it has an oven. That's one of our favorite. Pizza night happens about every week, and this space that we're sitting right now, it's a futon and living space during the day and then pulls out into the bed at night. We really like the feature of it, along with the massive sliding door, so when we park up at a beach, the sand dunes, in the mountains, or in this case a massive valley behind the camera as we're speaking, it's just really incredible to open up as you're laying in bed and just enjoy the nature around you.
It really is a room with 1,000 views. We've taken the Howler everywhere from England, where we purchased him, Sweden, Germany, Croatia. We took it all the way down into Western Sahara. We've taken the Howler far beyond where our wildest imaginations at the beginning of this adventure could have ever told us. We went running to the bottom of Uzud Falls and came back up and were greeted by monkeys, and we hiked the Mastiff, around the Mastiff of Mont Blanc,
which took us through France, Italy, and Switzerland.
We did the Kungsleden in
northern Sweden
for 5 days. Exploring the Lofoten Islands and hiking Reinibringen and
Vegakallen.
As Americans, we're limited to 90 days in the Schengen countries, which is most of the mainland Europe.
The Schengen zone, the region with having the 90 days in and the 90 days out, has really affected where we can go when, along with seasons and wanting to have the right temperature. We don't want to be stuck in the middle of winter in a certain area. So we've really had to think. It's a major puzzle, along with having to go back to the US for different commitments as well.
How do we earn money on the road? Drew is our breadwinner.
But I had the opportunity to partner with a doctor from a previous business in radiology that I had worked in throughout high school and college. And instead of the company dissolving, the doctor and I partnered together so that we could keep it running. And it's allowed me to work remotely and manage the office side of things. My favorite part of living in a van is the ability to live this ongoing adventure and quest to go do activities in different places on kind of a whim. We watch the weather a lot. I feel like I've become a meteorologist in the van, and I'm always watching the wind, the waves, the rain for different hikes. And so it just really allows you to have spontaneity in all the different activities. And we might just happen to pass up a lake, and I turn the van back around and we go back because we didn't have to commit to a reservation or a train ticket or a tour operator that we need to be there for a finite deadline. We can go back and explore that lake, and we can get out the kiteboard and kite, or we can find an amazing bike path that leads us to a village, and then we meet somebody there.
For me, the hardest part about living with less is that I don't have my art supplies. If I wanted to make jewelry or paint paintings and draw or watercolor, I don't have a plethora of supplies that I would have if I had like a little studio room. But anything that Drew and I have in this van has to come and go on an airplane with us because we're here in Europe. We have what we have because we took it on a plane with us in our duffel bags that are squished under this bed.
Yeah, we bought essential things that were large here initially when we moved into the van, such as our bicycles, bedding, and dishware.
So we are minimal right now. And I think there are a few things that we look forward to having once we're able to be back in America. Like this van does not have a shower. So if we want hot water, we do have to go to a campground rather than having a jug poured on our heads. I think the biggest challenge has been traveling in foreign countries where we don't speak the same language as other people around us, has us feeling alone a lot of times. Traveling in a van has changed us in many ways. I think, in my opinion, the most dramatic has been our relationship.
The closeness and what we've learned to know about each other and how we respond in different situations and set expectations and
what we value in life.
Yep.
I think moving forward, what we pursue career-wise, and how we choose to raise a family is all going to be affected by this experience.
Yep.
I think we are both pretty much certain that the only method of living is in a van for us, at least in the next steps. So we'll outfit a van to call home back in the US.